Hey everyone, hello out there, VCers, Tony. Tony's LPs are us checking back in. I want to thank everyone for dropping in again, as I usually do, and please subscribe. Please like, it really helps out the channel. This is what I did last night. Another one of my features that I'm starting to do. This is like, I believe, number 8. And just to give you some background, I was watching a Bond movie the other day on Blu-ray, and I was watching You Only Live Twice, which was filmed in Tokyo and other parts of Japan, in the countryside in Tokyo. And I thought, wow, I remember there were some great records that were recorded in Japan, primarily Budokan and Osaka. So, I pulled those records, and here's the You Only Live Twice, which has a great soundtrack, by the way. I didn't pull that, but didn't want to put too many LPs on this segment. But with Nancy Sinatra doing the theme song, a real showstopper, one of my favorite Bond movies, and one of my favorite soundtracks. A great John Barry soundtrack, You Only Live Twice. So listen to that if you can. And this is what I listen to. Here's my photo. As you can see, we have, let's see if I get that bigger here. There you go. Wait a minute. There you go. Dylan at Budokan, Lotus, Santana, Cheap Trick, and that last one, which is kind of faded from the glare, is Deep Purple, live in Japan. So those are 4 LPs that I chose. Off the top of my head, there was a lot of things recorded in Japan since then. Actually, the Beatles, I believe, were the first ones to play at the Nippon Budokan Stadium in Japan, in Tokyo. And the Budokan actually means martial arts hall. That place, that hall was erected for the '64 Japanese Olympics. And it was a sacred place. It wasn't for music. It wasn't for pop culture. And when the Beatles decided to go to Japan and the venue was Budokan, there was a lot of outrage. There was actually, there had to be a police presence. And I read somewhere where there were actually up to 30,000 uniformed police officers lining the streets to keep the Beatles safe and to keep the rioters from attacking the building. Because, like I said, Budokan was considered sacred territory for sumo wrestling and sports activities and probably samurai things, karate, judo, whatever. But the Beatles were the first one to play that. It was June 30th of '66, and it was taped for television. And that's actually available on VHS or Blu-ray or DVD. I'm sure there's bootleg albums of that around. I don't have a bootleg album of that, or else I would have shown that too. But it's a great concert. The Beatles are actually dressed in their Sgt. Pepper garb. And it's 1966. It's June of '66, so they're dressed in that. If I remember correctly, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what it is. But let's get going on this. This is what I played last night, Deep Purple, great album, double. This was in Osaka, Japan, at a music hall in, I believe, in Osaka, and also at Budokan. So 2 locations. It says Tokyo, Osaka, and I believe the Tokyo one is Budokan. So this has great things on it. Smoke on the Water from Osaka, Highway Child, Highway Star, Osaka, Space Truck in Osaka. This was all in 1972. Great album. Highly recommended if you're a Deep Purple fan. You know about this record. Next up is a fun record, which is Cheap Trick's biggest selling record of all time, I believe, which was live at Budokan or at Budokan, and comes in gatefold. There's the cover. This is a fun album. Ain't That a Shame? I Want You to Want Me, Surrender. Come On, Come On, Need Your Love, just like a greatest hits. But it also comes with a very nice insert. So if you see this used, the insert demands a little bit more money if you do get it with the insert, and it has almost like a Japanese pressing feel to it. You can see they have the titles in Japanese, and great photos. Similar to a Japanese pressing there, you can see. It's a 12 by 12 booklet. And here you have the breakdown of the songs in Japanese. So a great fun album. It's recorded pretty well. It sounds pretty good. This is an OG pressing. I'm not sure what the reissues would sound like. Here's a great sounding record that I love. Bob Dylan live at BUDOKAN. This is a promo, gold stamp, as you can see. I don't believe this came with a booklet or anything. I have a note in here that I cleaned this last time I cleaned it, because I didn't clean it when I played it the other night, 11/22/15. So it was clean. Sounds great. Really, Bob Dylan at his best. And let me just go over the tracks. Just a great lineup. One of the best sounding bands on record that I can remember. This was recorded at Nippon Budokan Tokyo, February 28th, March 1st, 78. And this is a band that has Rob Stoner in it, who you all know. Helena Springs, Joanne Harris, and Debbie Bai, I believe, on vocals. Great background singers on this. And this has everything on it. Maggie's Farm, Blowing in the Wind, All I Really Want to Do, Knocking on Heaven's Door, Times Are Changing, Forever Young. It's just one of the best sounding Dylan live albums. I like this better than Hard Rain. Hard Rain's great, but this is a double. I actually like this better than Before the Flood with the band. He's just in great voice in this record. There's so many great live Dylan records now, especially with the bootleg series, but this is an official release. And I have a funny story that goes with the next record. In reading my Santana memoir, Santana was hanging with Dylan for the first time in New York by Madison Square Garden, I believe, one of the hotels. And he got a call. They were in their suite that the people from Japan were over to show Carlos the layout for the Lotus album. And that's my next album, Lotus, which was not in Budokan, but which was in Osaka at the Kosi Nankin Kaikan Hall. And this was recorded it was recorded in July 3 and 4 of 73. This is a triple record, but in his book, he talks about how Dylan was there, and they started to, he goes, "You want to hang out? I'm going to look at my new album. They're going to give me the packaging," because it was only available on import at that point. I remember it was a very expensive record. I wasn't able to afford it. I was able to get a copy later on. The copy I have is a Holland pressing, a Dutch pressing. And again, this is the cover. This is one of the best live recordings that you'll ever hear. And I wanted to make this the focus of this video. So it has an elaborate packaging. Here's the itinerary, which you could see everything is there. It has a almost like a poster fold out. It's 3 records. And it's during his spiritual jazz period, Welcome, Caravansary, things of that nature. But they do a few songs from the first 2 or 3 records as well. And I don't want to rip this, but you can see Very elaborate. There. And the inner sleeves are specific inner sleeves for the release. Here's the itinerary again if you want to freeze that out and read it. That's pretty cool. And here are the inner sleeves. Each one is identical, 3 inner sleeves. And the records have different labels. But the funny story was that Santana said that Dylan's eyes lit up when he saw the packaging. And then subsequently, Dylan later on, I guess a year or two later, or whatever the time frame was, went to Japan and released Budokan. I think this was the forerunner of popularizing albums recorded in Japan for American release. And of course, this was never released. I don't know if the vinyl was ever released officially by Columbia, but the CD was later released, which I have a double CD of the 3 tracks. And I want to show you the gatefold. But if you're a Santana fan, this is a must record. It's expensive. Used copies are expensive. I remember I've seen them listed between $40 and $80, depending on the pressing. I know this is a Holland pressing. It may be a little less than the actual Japanese pressing with Obi, but this sounds great. Highly recommend it. You can see there the floral, and that's it. And this is a near mint copy. So there you have it. From watching You Only Live Twice, which was filmed in Japan, I started thinking about some albums that were made in Japan, and that's it. And also, like I said, the Beatles were the first ones to play at Budokan. So keep rocking, and we will see you soon. Thank you again. Please subscribe, and please leave your comments if you can, if you're up to it. Let me know what you think about these records, especially Lotus, which, like I said, is just my, out of these records, I would rate Lotus, Dylan, Purple, and then, of course, Cheap Trick. Cheap Trick's a fun record. But for rocking out, you want the Deep Purple. For quality and history of a guy, it would be Live at Budokan, which was the Dylan. And then, of course, Lotus, which is just tremendous. It's hard to believe it was a live recording. When you hear it, you're going to think, why can't all live recordings sound this well? It sounded as if it was in a studio, and they took it from 2 shows and put their best together. I'm not sure, but there might be an expanded version of this. You Santana people out there will probably know it. And when I list it, when I do the publishing of this video, I'll list the records and their catalog numbers if anybody's interested. So thanks a lot. Please keep rocking and stay safe. Tony's LPS are us, signing out. Ciao.